Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name's Matt, Matthew, if that's what you want to call me. It really don't matter. Just don't call me late for dinner. But this is, and even then, I'm just talking nonsense here. I've spent many years in public, in traveling sales for about the last, on and off since 2000 or no, since 1996. And seen a lot of things, been a lot of places, had a lot of experiences. This video really is something different for me because I don't like selfies. I don't like the idea of recording myself, all that. Just never been a limelight kind of guy. Myers-Briggs has me as a INFJ, A personality, rarest one out there. And in a lot of ways, I think that while those things can be helpful along our path, they also have quite a limitation. But that's for another time. The thing I really wanted to talk about here, I was really kind of inspired based on some videos from some things that are being shared in the medical community, which are quite right. And also a lot of videos that I've seen, which finally, people are sharing just in the communities at large regarding legal issues and law enforcement and things like that. And I've got a lot to say about those things. I've had a lot of experiences, had a lot of false accusations, had to have a lot of challenges, and over the years, I've been wrongly incarcerated many times. I have a clean record. That's, in my opinion, a testimony of my ability to maintain truth and my integrity, no matter what the situation has been. And more importantly, my testimony that the divine creator of all things, and many just refer as God, has guided me through those difficult times. So I'm blessed. Even in the challenges, I count them as blessings. But what I really wanted to get into today is a little bit about one of the things that I've witnessed that has been a powerful document that I took the time to memorize about 15 years ago. And I share it with a lot of people, not to boost myself up anyway, but to help them to see that they can do it too and should. I was having a talk with a friend, someone that I associate well with, and he's an attorney, and we were having this conversation. This talk is regarding, this document is the Bill of Rights. And I actually gave a couple off-the-cuff lectures about it, and it worked out really well. Before I do expand on a few things, I'm just going to go ahead and share them with you real fast, and why you should and can memorize them, and what it can do for your life in the medical world, in the physical world, in the legal realm. Why this document was so powerful. But before I do, I just want to let you see that, I'm just out here at a park. I got a little notepad. I always travel with a notepad, but I don't have any prompts. I really did memorize this, and there, on occasion, there's a word or two that I might flip around ever so smidgedly. In my opinion, that's more of a testimony of my understanding of the actual document. But if you ever decide to pull it up and review my quote to it, my quotes about it, then you'll understand. I hope you'll take the time to memorize them yourself. And at the end of this, I'll give a little more context about it. But listen intently. Listen to what the words say. And afterwards, I'll go back through and share each portion and how it really molds in with your autonomy, your sovereignty, and your rights. I always like to tell people I wish that they would have never stopped at calling it the Bill of Rights. I like to think of it as a Bill of Rights and responsibilities, because every right in this world has a responsibility. And that's just the way it goes. And so here, I'm going to start with number one. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, nor prohibiting the free exercise thereof, nor abridging the freedom of speech, nor the press, nor the right of the people to peacefully assemble and petition their government for a redress of grievances. Two, everybody knows this one, and a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Three, no soldier shall be quartered in any house in time of peace without consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Four, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. 5, and no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime, unless on presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces, or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. 6, in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law. They shall be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, be confronted with the witnesses against him, have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and have the assistance of counsel for his defense. 7, in suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States other than according to the rule of common law. 8, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. 9, the enumerations in the Constitution of certain rights are not meant to deny or disparage others retained by the people. And 10, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. So like I said, there may be, because every once in a while I've gone back and noticed somewhere along the line I glitched a word like an and or the like really minuscule, but particularly the third is the one that I've tossed up a couple times and just in order, but it is sound. I've memorized it, quoted it, I run through it in my head every couple weeks to a month or so. That's just how I've done ever since, because what happens is once you know it, haven't just read it, but when you memorize it, you internalize it. It becomes a part of you. It becomes something that you carry, and in my belief, it makes you a better citizen. Because as a citizen, if I don't defend my rights and I don't take that as a responsibility, then I've also weakened your ability to defend yours. We are brothers and sisters on this planet, and in this country. And when we only look out for ourselves, then we're weak. I find that the greatest blessings in my life have been when I've had somebody to aim to bless. raising my children, and I found a lost part in time after they all grew up, and here I am, like, okay, what now? What next? It's been an adventure, and a lot of it's had some challenges. But going back to the Constitution, the First Amendment is, well, I now, after 30 years, because I had a thing that sat on me at 17, and that's a long story I might share in another video, but I was eventually given a retroactive First Offenders Act, and because I've kept a clean record, even despite all the challenges, all the false accusations that came as a result of having that mark on me. So I never carried a firearm in my youth, and I'm actually glad. And I've had to travel, gone through difficult places, the hardest communities in downtown Atlanta, Miami, Los Angeles, New York, the Bronx. I've been through it all. I've been all over the country, and also in some of the greenest, most beautiful pastures, farmlands, dealt with people of all walks of life, I'll tell you that. But the Second Amendment was second for a reason. And that's because it's not more powerful than the first. And this is why the first is first. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. So first of all, your faith is the number one most important thing you can carry. And when you have that kind of faith, you can walk through some stuff and come out the other side clean. So let your faith be strong. And every challenge that you persevere and make to the other side strengthens your faith. So be grateful for the challenges. But there's an important thing in that. A lot of people get the mindset that the government gives us the laws, that the government gave us the Bill of Rights. No. Actually, it's the other way around, and you can hear it in two things. It was encompassed pretty well in the First and 10th Amendment. The First Amendment, where it says Congress shall make no law. Well, who's telling Congress what to do? Congress is pretty much other than the executive branch of presidency, Congress is the highest branch. It's us. It's the people who together formed the Constitution. We the people, by the people, for the people. We told Congress this is the way it is, that they can't do this. So the power doesn't lie in the government. The power lies in you. You are sovereign. You are. But to be sovereign, you have to act justly. You have to be sovereign. You can't just claim sovereignty if you act like a slave. If you're going to act like a slave, then you're going to be a slave. If you're going to act sovereign, then you're going to be sovereign. And these are lessons that our great teacher, I am very, be careful with this myself, because I don't discredit any man's faith. But I was raised through the Christian faith, so I use a lot of references through the Holy Scriptures of the Holy Bible. But, Jesus had given instructions to the slaves to serve well, to serve rightly, and not to, and in that they would potentially own their freedom. And that was different. There's a whole different philosophy I could go down on that. But again, to be sovereign, you must act sovereign. You must walk uprightly. You must be level and equal with all people in life. No one's above you. No one's below you. So first of all, we told Congress this is how it is. In the 10th, you see it as well, because it's reminded to us, and if you go into the first shall be last and the last shall be first, you can see that in the 10th Amendment, where it says that the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution. So the United States has its powers, but the powers that it has are delegated by the document called the Constitution. Well, we the people formed the Constitution and made that. So that was a collective bringing together. Nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states. So essentially, the states are more powerful than the federal, than the federal order of the United States. Each state has its own supremacy. But then it goes farther, and it reminds you, are reserved to the states or to the people. The people are the state. You are a state. If you go into linguistics and understanding etymology of words and things like that, we are our own constitution. We are, our constitution, our body. So that's that. Let's just go there. Second, like I said, it is second for a reason. So, I've always said, if it meant saving someone else's life from a third party perspective, I guess I would consider that I would make a maneuver if it had to be that would save an innocent person's life, but only as a third party perspective, I would never take a life to save my own. And I have a long concept on that. Mainly judgment. When you have to judge as a third party, because if you're on the other end of the scale, you can't weigh rightly. You have to weigh a scale from an independent third portion. Scales, justice work like that, and justice should be blind. Anyway, when you get into the third, this is a neat portion that people don't think about. And in today's world where the states have received so much federal funding for their police training, their academies, their campuses, any state that is collecting or receiving funding for their training from the federal have essentially become militarized. And that puts the Third Amendment into a different spectrum than people think. So the Third Amendment, where no soldier shall be quartered in any house without consent of the owner in time of peace nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law, that adds an extra layer of understanding, really, with what the Fourth Amendment was supposed to do. But cops just can't come into your house and go jacking up your stuff, especially if they in any way receive any kind of funding from the federal government. They've been militarized, though not stated as such. And I can go into another thing here. And one of my favorite things that I think every person needs to understand in regards to the Bill of Rights is Marbury versus Madison trial in 1803. That's where the Supreme Court upheld that just because something's written in as law, or even by a long period of stretch of time, people assumed it to be law, if it does not uphold the Constitution and its amendments, it is not law. It can't be a redacted law because it never was law. That's important to know. So four is really, so I find that in a lot of these videos that people have posted, and I've had it happen, where you're just falsely accused, wrongly arrested, they go in and take your stuff or any of that. It's truly a Fourth Amendment violation, and so many people don't even know what these are. They claim to swear an oath to uphold the Constitution, but how can you uphold the Constitution if you don't even know the smidge about it? So that bothers me. But anyway, we're going to figure it out. We'll move on as a society. But and everything that should be is, and everything has a season in life. And it's all the harmony of the balance of back and forth. If you understand frequency and radio and everything has two poles in the universe until you get outside of that. But the fourth, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, their houses, and then many years ago they declared that your automobile is an extension of your house, their papers, all your data, everything, and effects. And effects really was something to extra encapsulate. If it's yours, it's yours. Like, we're not just limiting this. It was adding more clarity that this is not limited. Anything that's, my sunglasses, that's my effects. I mean, anything that affects me is my effects. Anything that I've brought into my sphere and I've maintained in my sphere is my effects. Against unreasonable searches and seizures. And so what is unreasonable? Well, anything that doesn't have a warrant to start with. And that warrant shall be declared by oath or affirmation. So it needs to be a actual process of oath, and it has to say, I expect to see this. This is what I'm looking for, and this is what I expect to find, and this is where I expect to find it. We've gone so far away from that. People are being terrorized all around this country. And it saddens me. And our founding fathers are saddened by it too, I guarantee, But they knew this. They said this when they formed. If you go back through many of the quotes that were stated by our founding fathers, they knew this. Nothing lasts forever. Not in its current form, like it will change. That is, change is the one thing you can be sure of. And it was Benjamin Franklin said, you can be sure of death and taxes. And no matter which way it goes, it's going to be. Anyway, so those are important. Five is, you hear people all the time, I know my rights. No, you don't. You have some rights, but you don't know your rights. If you knew your rights, you wouldn't say anything. And that's there's a difference in knowing your rights and knowing you have some rights. So to anybody out there, know your rights. The medical community really falls into number 8 a lot, but here, let me back up because we were on 5. 6 as well, timely. When things aren't done in a time frame and they try dragging it on, this is usually an effort to break you. Know your rights. If you don't have the person that was supposedly or rightly wronged by you to stand trial, then there is no trial. And this is why you'll see often, that just things get dismissed if something happens like that. But that's just speedy. That's called due process. 7, the number, I was surprised. I thought the number would be around a few hundred or maybe even up to 1,000, because in all criminal or in suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, I always thought that maybe that would have gone up to a couple hundred or maybe even 1,000 with modern inflation. But I was sharing with an attorney friend, and he said, no, actually, it's only like 60 today. I said, oh, wow, well, that's cool. So anything that you're accused of that is over $60 or whatever that true number is, I don't have a fact as to what that true number is considered today, you have the right to trial by jury. It means a jury of your peers. Now this is an interesting thing too, because I've come to know from just being around, and you listen to what people are talking about, and there's people that have expressed, I've had some family that was on a peer of a jury. Well, what people don't understand with all the personality profiling and all the data that's online, they can select a jury so fine-tuned that they know how you're going to be found pretty much by the way the thing, for the most part. I mean, if they can do it, it's pretty well done. And that's just flat out wrong. It should just be completely at random. Are you a legal of age citizen? Boom. Able to vote, you have your rights intact. So if so, then boom. It should know age. It shouldn't above the age of legalness. It should know gender. It should know anything. It should be boom, a crapshoot. But they don't do that. They fine tune that process, and it is disgustingly a perversion of our constitutional rights when they're trying to convict somebody. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed. What's excessive? Well, first of all, if the fourth or any of the others, if they went in without a warrant, then every single dollar is excessive because it was in the wrong to begin with. But, leave the nor excessive fines imposed. That's if you're found guilty, then. Nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Now, this is an interesting thing because, see, many, many years ago, if in other cultures and on the other side of the world, if you did something and you were just you weren't breaking any laws in any way, but the public didn't like you, or you were a nuisance, or you were just a little too weird, or you might have spoke too much truth and it bothered people because, well, in this world, a lot of people don't like the truth. I'll tell you that. You would have just went to a prison. But because of the way our country was founded, that wasn't so. That was not allowed. Just because you had a different opinion or a different thought to add, you couldn't be locked up. Well, over the years, through the medical community, and the DSM-5, they just put you in a hospital, and they'll drug you, and they'll put you down as medically incapable. And you have many battles to fight. I've seen it. But even that, in its due time and season, to the person of faith, will come to see that it is a blessing also. Unrighteous, in the realm of where we're at as people dealing with people, brothers and sisters loving their brothers and sisters and their fellow man, but on a higher level, still a blessing. If you're willing to find and receive that golden Easter egg of blessing. Because I tell everybody, every blessing has a seed of burden, and every burden has a seed of blessing. In other cultures, you would think of that as the yin and the yang, But knowing those rights and knowing that if you ever end up in a hospital to go, and they're supposed to have posted the laws on their wall in place where you can read it, not way back. A lot of hospitals are violating the law, but if you know that, you bring it to their attention. I've gone into a couple of hospitals, man, within a couple of days, they're making changes everywhere because, well, they're on the brink of a potential lawsuit, although that's very difficult in today's world. Unless you feed into some agenda that further blinds people. The power is not, or the 9. 9 is really good too. The enumerations in the Constitution of certain rights are not meant to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Again, a reminder, who holds the cards? Who holds the rights? It's not the government. The government is not our God. The government is the collective of the people, elected by the people, supposed to be. But when you go to a higher law, even in its frailty and its faults, they are still elected by the divine creator. That's a neat thing to understand the mix of this. And it can be quite mentally rousing at times because you got to dig, but anyway, on its surface form, and the reality is that again, it's a reminder that the rights weren't given to us by the government. We gave the rights of the government and spelled it out to them as people, as citizens, as communities. And then again, 10 is that where it just really lays in that we are sovereign. It's a trickle down. The federal has certain rights. Those rights were granted by the Constitution. The Constitution was formed by the people, so essentially it's just a big circle, a big wheel. And then what doesn't, handle there, if the Constitution doesn't restrict the state, then the state has more supremacy. And then when you go all the way down, then what isn't restricted to the state by the people is, again, in the hands of the people. Doesn't always make it easy. I've had my arms, I've had my shoulders dislocated more times than I can count. I've been beaten, tased, drugged. And again, the only time I ever got in trouble, and I did wrong. I was 17. I had gotten in trouble at a party, poured candle wax in a girl's hair, and ended up going only 17, but I sat almost a year in an adult jail. Took the plea, wanting to do right. I really did. I knew that I had done wrong, but I was charged with aggravated assault, and because it was candle wax and fire was involved, and could have killed the girls. It was a little far pushed, but nonetheless, I did wrong. We were all a bunch of wild kids, and many kids go down that route. My story's long, but that I empathize with anybody that carries a mark, because once you're marked, even though you're not supposed to be, that mark is there. Every officer, and it used to be they had to look you up, but now with the license plate readers, the moment their thing scans your tag, it comes up. Oh, there's a felon over here, or there's someone that's been charged in the past. We've got stalkers. We've got stalkers, and they're unconstitutionally digging into every person's past. That the past does not equal the present, and the present does not equal the future. The past is the past. The past is history. The future is a mystery. The present is a gift. This is where it's at. But anyway, about to probably wrap it up. But nonetheless, so yeah, even after almost 3 decades, of maintaining a clear and clean record, being beaten and tased and drugged many times over the course, just because, in some part, because of that past record. A judge granted me a First Offenders Act, which wiped it all clean as if it was an adjudication of guilt. So it's beautiful. I don't even know how to almost handle that sometimes. I don't think it changes anything, because the reality is, legally, I could say, no, I was never convicted and never tell anybody. But to me, that would nullify the blessings and the power and the glory of the divine creator, Father, Mother, God, however you understand God to be. It would nullify that beauty of the walk and the freedom that has been placed on me after that time period. So I don't. I share it anyway. Though no one would know it, they could look it up. The only people that could ever know it would be a court, a justice system on the far end, not on the police end anymore. But it don't matter to me. It's my story. It's the journey that I've taken in faith. But the last thing I really wanted to share on that, there was one other thing that was regards to since I didn't really know where this video was going to go. I knew I wanted to expand on the Bill of Rights a little bit, because it can help people in their medical walks and in their legal walks and in their personal walk if they'll take the time to get to know it. And perhaps I'll do a short video soon on how to memorize it. It's really not as hard as you think. I mean, if you know any songs, there's only like 460 words in the Bill of Rights. If you know a couple of songs and have memorized it, you could memorize the Bill of Rights. If you've memorized, one of your any scripture in the Holy Bible or any of the other sacred texts, if you will, if you have then you can memorize it. One at a time, inch by inch it's a cinch, yard by yard it's hard. So you just do the first one. Once you memorize that, you do the second one, and then you go back and do the first and the second, then you memorize the third, then you go back and do the first, second, third in succession. Within a couple of weeks, you can have it completely down. And once you know it, it becomes a part of you. But the last thing I wanted to share is, linguistics. It saddens me because the word don't or not is not actually conceptualized in the human language. If I say, don't drop that, I just told you to drop that. If I say, don't pick up that salt shaker, your brain pictured a salt shaker. If I say, don't think about blue elephants, your brain doesn't hear the don't. It's a zero-sum word. It hears blue elephants and pictures that. So when you go into any courthouse or anything, it saddens me because They start with, are you guilty or not guilty? In other words, are you guilty or guilty? I challenge you to always be clear, and my hope is to help you understand these little truths. They're big truths, and they're powerful. This is true, and it's powerful. But when they ask you, are you guilty or not guilty, your answer should not be not guilty. Your answer should be, if in fact you are, I am innocent. There's a big difference. I am innocent. Because not guilty, all you really just said is I'm guilty. You didn't say guilty, you said guilty. Because not is a word it doesn't. So the last thing that the jury heard is guilty. The last thing the judge heard is guilty. And you intended to say I didn't do these things that I was accused of, but what they still heard is guilty. Hope that helped anybody out there. It's just been a nice day at the park. My first video, like I said, I've traveled. Gosh, I used to be chatty mouth all the time, and last couple of years of my life, I do a lot of time sitting in silence and reflection, meditation, prayer, and I don't know where life's taking me next, but it's been a journey. It's been nice refraining from speaking so much. I'll tell you, I tell people all the time that we hear better, we talk better with our ears than we do with our mouth. Really is true, you know, and our elders understood that, you know. So have a great day, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, give it a subscribe, you know, maybe put in a comment, and might encourage me to make some more. So let me just divine creator of all things, giver of all good things, I just pray that you just guide any heart, mind, and spirit that is been led to listen to this video. Guide us all to develop each other better, to love each other better, and to treat others with the same integrity that you have treated us, and to look at them as if they are the embodiment of you, as we know you are the beginning of all things and all creation. So everything was made by you and through you. So therefore everything is a part of you. So my brothers and sisters along this walk in this world, whether fallen, whether good, whether in darkness or light, they all carry a portion of you, and I'll respect and honor that. And I just pray that we all do that together. Amen. Have a blessed day, guys.